Hello world, I'm Dougie, and welcome to Heartless Chat, where I get into the minds of everyday normal people. Let's go. Alright, so just to start it off, I heard some crazy shit today, and it's actually pretty interesting. So, in Tennessee, they just passed a law where if a woman has a child by a man and she puts the father's name on the birth certificate, and he is not the father, the woman can go to jail.
No way.
Deadass.
Okay.
What do you think?
That's crazy.
What do you think about that?
I mean, like, is it where they're paying child support, she goes to jail? Or is it just like...
Yeah, she has a man paying child support for like an extended period of time. And he goes and he does like... so it's mandatory basically now to get a
DNA test.
A DNA test at birth.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so I was gonna say that if there's two sides, and it's like if the woman doesn't know, I'm like, but at the same time, at that point in time, you should know.
She knows.
But if it's a requirement to take a what is it, paternity test, at labor and all of that stuff, then yeah, that's her fuck up. That's kind of how I would feel at that point in time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you made your bed, lay in it.
So, like, we're already come to the point where, like, at birth, you're like, all right, you have to take a test to see if it's yours or not by law. Like,
yeah, it's law right now. That's what I heard in Tennessee. It's law. They passed it, I think, today or whatever.
I mean, it gets you out of sticky situations later on, but that's a trust level right there.
Yeah, but the requirement to pass a law is now what I'm on at this point in time.
What do you all think about the woman actually being fined and possible jail time?
I got an opinion on this.
What do you think?
For like a guy to raise a kid that's not his own and find out later, it's kind of messed up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if she deserves like jail time, but for a guy to provide financially for a woman like that, even if it's not his, is different.
Well, I feel like it's like a lot of men, they go to jail if they don't pay child support because it's their responsibility. Like if you have a child with someone, you have to be responsible for that child. So if it's like women are being irresponsible with who they're having a child with and then just putting that responsibility on other people, like there should be equal consequences.
Absolutely. So I had a different opinion on it before you said like the DNA test thing.
Yeah.
But now that you mentioned that, I absolutely agree with them. Like it kind of makes them like responsible for that for sure. If they have that DNA test to prove that, then it's like, I don't know. Yeah. It's just I feel like they are
I also
pass the law.
Yeah. I also understand like why people would disagree with it, because what happened to like my body, my choice? Like what if the women are like, oh, I refuse to let you DNA test my child, like I refuse to let you do those tests on my kid.
Well then if you don't want to do the DNA test, you're not going to get the child support. You have to prove that this individual is the father of the child before you even get the child support. So it's either you do what is recommended of you to do by the law, and you get either your whatever compensation you need to get, or you stay and you take the kid up on your own.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think the DNA test is like, it doesn't make sense to not have it because it protects both sides.
Yeah.
Because if you get a chick pregnant and then she's like, if you think you got a chick pregnant and she says that it's you, and then she's getting your money, that DNA test will protect you. And if the guy fucks off after he's like, oh shit, I'm about to have a kid, well then she's protected and she's like, no, like I can prove it here.
Yeah.
I feel like it's good for both sides.
Okay. Cool.
I have another thing to say too.
Sure.
I think like legally, women are supported more in courts, right? So it just comes down to like, I think I have a way to avoid it. If you have that communication with the girl and you tell her, look, I'm not trying to raise this kid. Like, I want you to get an abortion, whatever. Like, I'm pro-life and everything, but I think if the father doesn't want to be involved, then the woman has to make that decision to take on that kid on her own, right? And I think you avoid that whole jail time without figuring out who the dad is or whatever. It's just, it's like getting a dog. Yeah. And like, in a relationship, if you're ready to take care of it, you're ready. But some people just get it and they don't even take care of it, right?
Yeah.
I think relationships are a little bit more complex than a dog. Like, I mean,
yeah.
I'll give you an I have a friend who got a dog, and they ended up giving her up like really quick, right? Now they have a baby together. So it's like, if you couldn't even take care of a dog, why even go to a baby, right? Yeah, that's where I'd be on that.
I've just seen so much situations where, like, I seen this one dude who was taking care of a kid for almost 12 years.
Okay.
And then something just told him, go get a DNA test. And he did it, and the girl wasn't his own.
Okay.
What town in
Fair.
Tennessee was this?
It was briefly told to me this morning through my family group chat or whatever. I haven't done much extensive research on it, but eventually I'll look it up and see what's going on and what's there. So I just thought, like, I would like to hear what you guys' thoughts on it.
Okay, so imagine. So someone has like, so you go and you're with your wife or girlfriend or whatever, and your girlfriend's having a baby in Tennessee, okay? And then she has the baby, and all of a sudden they're like, okay, DNA test.
Yeah.
And then she's like, oh, I refuse. And you're like, why are you refusing? And she's just like, oh, I don't know. I just don't think that they should do that on my baby at this young. Would you like get mad that she's refusing to prove that it's yours, or would you like be suspicious? Because I think that's like kind of yeah. I think it's kind of funny because like imagine like how many relationships that would break up in the hospital as soon as you have a baby, and you're just like no, like I don't want to see.
This is my last really thought on it. I feel any genuine woman who is with one specific person and they don't give a fuck. They'll be like, yep, let's do it.
Yeah.
I think once you're out there in the field and you're playing around and shit, you're gonna be like, you know.
So it's like monogamy versus being poly.
Yeah, it's like to some extent, I guess.
To some extent.
I want to say like
Secret poly.
it's so simple though, because like if you get a paternity test, it's not invasive at all. Like you can have hair, like nail samples, like. It's nothing. If there's some like you can do pretty much anything that is a cell that's alive and compare it to the father's. If someone like, there's no point to not do it. It can be like a funny joke and like let's see if it's ours, you know. But like it's so sketch. If you're like, okay, let's just get it done. Sorry, let's just get it done. See if it's my kid, and then let's move on with our lives. And she's like, no, like that's invasive. Like, bro, can we trim its nails?
No,
bro?
I mean like it is.
Fuck, it's gonna be okay.
It is kind of like when because people don't talk about this a lot, like birth trauma. When you go to like a hospital and have a kid and they're like manhandling you and like manhandling the baby. And like, of course, like when you first push out a kid, your natural instinct is to like protect that kid at all costs. And like, I can kind of understand where a like fresh mom would be like, no, give me my kid. But at the same time, it's like, there's like enough.
The question, you know, if they're gonna, you know, present a paternity test for you to question the, you know.
And that's why I mean, like, I wonder if it's immediate or like a week after.
think
Like, if it's immediate, I'd be like, oh my God, like, I'm freaking out.
Prior to, like, you can do paternity testing prior
Exactly.
to, you know, like that kind of stuff.
Would it just make sense? Because like if you guys are planning on staying together, then like you don't even need it because no one's gonna be paying child support in the first place. But like if you guys decide to split, then yeah, it could be like the kid could be like 5 years old. Who cares? Like trim some hair,
whatever, you know.
One night fling.
Prenups. Do you guys think it's a safeguard or is it a lack of trust?
both.
Depends on the situation.
Fuck them.
That's a loaded question.
All directions.
I support prenups.
I support prenups
Alright,
as well.
let's have Orhan.
Okay.
What do you think of prenups? Is it a lack of trust?
Okay.
Or is it like
Um,
safeguard?
like Jonas said, I agree. It's a little bit of both.
Mm-hmm.
I also think marriage is kind of different because then you get the government involved in your business.
Okay.
But if you're living in someone's house for 2 years, regardless, you're common law.
Yeah.
I just believe keep it separate until you're ready to kind of make that move.
Mm-hmm.
And if you know that's the person, then do it. If you don't, you still got those trust issues. Yeah, maybe get a prenup. But personally, I would get a prenup.
I have
Yeah.
a follow-up question, but we'll go around and see what everybody else is saying. What is your take on it?
On prenups,
I know
if
you
it's
said both, but
if it's I think it's combined. It's just like the old saying is that like getting married is just like placing a bet that like I bet you half my shit you won't leave me. Like it's a terrible fucking outcome like for both parties. Whoever makes more money, because like now we're seeing shit like Adele's husband got like stupid money and he was like a fucking
Jeff Bezos' wife, right?
yeah, like whoever's making more money, I think it's just smarter because like you can be like so in love and it can go extremely well. 15 years, you don't know what the fuck's gonna happen. You could slip, hit your head, and you're like, fuck, I like black dudes now. Like, I'm trying to move on. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't plan ahead that far. Just get the fucking prenup. And if nothing goes wrong, then you're like, you'll never have to look at it. But if something goes to shit, you're like, bitch, I got you to sign this.
Okay.
You know?
Or what's your take on it?
If someone cheats on me, I'm taking everything. I'm taking everything. That's in my prenup. That's all I'm thinking about. Like, if I get cheated on, I'm taking all of your money, the house, the car, the kids, they're mine.
Common law, you're entitled to half that shit anyway.
I don't want half, I want all of it. If you cheat on me, I'm taking everything. Everything.
You're gonna have to.
Bye.
I think, in my opinion, prenups are necessary. Because like everyone else said, you don't know what the fuck's gonna happen, right? So it's like just having that little backup, you know, is a nice thing to have. I don't know. I think it's necessary because I've seen so much shit go bad before. That I feel like it's obviously it can fuck you over like really hard. But if you're gonna make that decision, like if you haven't like taken that time to actually think like what's gonna go bad, then I don't know, like you should be sure about that shit before you go into it. So if you're like, it's kind of your bad if something fucks up. Like obviously not all the time, not in all cases.
Well, I don't think it's so much of an issue. Like, I guess it's an issue of trust and security. But like, I think the prenup is the way. Like, it's like, you know, when you meet a person, like I've known a lot of people in my life, and I've seen the absolute worst in them. I've seen the absolute best in them. But when they're at their worst, like what people are capable of, you know, like they just leave you with nothing. So like, you can build with someone.
Yeah.
And like say separate, but like do it on your own regards. And like I guess you gotta trust in humanity, but like I don't think I'd leave half of everything with someone, you know. Unless I was gonna die and like leave it to my legacy.
Yeah. Ryan, what about you?
I hold marriage kind of with traditional values. So I'm going to talk about love more than anything else.
Okay.
Because, like, when you choose to get married, it means that you're choosing to love that person every single day for the rest of your life. And if you can understand that you are choosing love every single day, it's a choice. Doesn't matter, you know, like feelings come and go, but choosing that person every single day for the rest of your life, you know, I think if you choose to make that union with another person with marriage, a prenup isn't necessary because you've already made that commitment to the other person.
But to like what
You know?
extent of that commitment? Like imagine you found out that person, like you don't know everybody to their deepest core. No matter how much you love someone, it's always like in your head you have a vision of that person. So like what if you found out that person like beat children or like was abusive to you? Like you're gonna choose that person every day?
So
Like
abusiveness, I would say, is completely different to saying cheating. You know, like if we're really gonna do one side to the other and stuff like that, because obviously nobody should take someone treating them like shit physically or mentally within their life, no matter what, right? But at the same time, in this society, a lot of people choose that unionship and that marriage with people that they don't know, no matter what. Like
that a lot of people in marriage, like I've heard a lot of stories about people getting married and then all of a sudden their partner is like a completely different person than who they were before. I've heard a lot of stories about that. So I'm just saying like that's where I kind of disagree with you, because I find through history a lot of reason why people won't leave their abusive other half is because they have nothing to stand on if they leave. Yeah. So that's why I think a prenup is important. So if they need to leave in that case, then they have a safeguard of like going and having financial stability, and they won't lose their kids and they won't ruin their entire life just because they don't want to be with that person.
And that's where like